Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Property Investment Australia podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Lachlan Vidler, and as always, I am joined by the best-looking Brazilian mortgage broker in the business, Will Sanchez.
Thank you very much. That's a good starting.
Do you like that for a bit of a different intro?
Thank you.
Yeah, how are you, mate? What's anything new going on in your world at the moment?
Just trying to get clients approved and ready to go.
So nothing new in your world, then?
No, to be honest, no, not really.
Well, I mean, we're out of summer now. We're what is it? Autumn. We're into autumn now. It's before we know it, it'll probably be winter, and everyone will be sad, and it'll be daylight savings over, and everything else in between. It's
I need the sun, my friend.
You need the sun.
Absolutely.
It's we had a bit of a warm end to summer, didn't we? It was some
30 odds,
some
close to 40.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we love talking about the weather, and everyone comes here to listen to us bang on about the weather and your Brazilian need for the sun. But what about we dive straight into what we're going to be talking about today? And I think this is something that's very near and dear to my heart from a client point of view, because I hear some absolute shockers.
Yeah.
For what we are going to talk about today.
All right. Let's dive in.
And what we're really going to talk about is some of those top investment myths. And more importantly, the fact that they are myths and they are holding you back from starting or growing a property portfolio.
Yeah, these are myths. Usually heard at barbecue,
at
and
barbecues,
parties.
Yeah, and water coolers,
yeah,
and yeah, I like that. That is so true. They often are, and you know what? Some of the ones we're going to go through today, we're going to go through 5 of them. I think it's 5. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there a 5th? If I look at the next page, 5. We got 5 of them to go through today. I think everybody at some point has either believed it or been in the position of it. And, a lot of people will overcome them. But sometimes it can take a long time to overcome those myths because a lot of them are more mental than anything else.
And time is
precious.
Money. Precious.
Oh, see, maybe I'm just more altruistic than you. You know, time is money for you, but time is precious for me.
I like that.
No, but time is money, and time is precious. And by taking too long to kind of beat some of these myths in somebody's mind, it's that opportunity cost that ends up coming from it. And in the environment we're in right now, we've very recently seen the first cut to the cash rate. I would say we're probably going to see at least 1, maybe 2 more, depending on what goes on. We've obviously got, an election. We've got lots of things, different things happening. So we may see probably at least 1, but maybe a second one.
Some economists are saying 4. Bring it on.
Oh, so what?
Can
3 more then? That'd be massive.
That'd be awesome. That'd be amazing.
Of course, it'd be awesome. I'm not sure about the viability of it, but it'd be absolutely awesome. But
we'll see. We'll see. Let's not jinx
it. We'll see. Let's not. You're gonna make me cough and laugh here. I'll have to keep drinking my water. Mate, let's dive in. Right, top investment myths that are holding people back. I have number 1. This one just kills me every single time.
Is it number 1 for a reason?
I think it is number 1 for a reason.
Beautiful.
All right. The myth that there is a perfect time to buy.
Yeah.
How many people have you seen that have come through your doors, physically and metaphorically, that sit there and they're the gunners? Oh, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I can think of one straight off the bat.
Only one?
But because it was recent. It was like probably 2 months ago. They said, no, I'm not gonna do anything until we've seen the cash rate go down to in the vicinity of 5%.
Yeah.
I said, okay, no drama. Keep waiting.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it's just this, you know what? This one kills me because these people, and when I say these people, at some point it probably has been everybody, right? At some point it probably has been everybody. But the thing that really kills me is that often the people that kind of fall into this boat, they're the same people that when it gets close to whatever measurement they said that they wanted to see or thing that they wanted to see, that they then find the new thing that means it's not the perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
Changing
the goalposts all the time.
Yeah, changing the goalposts. Exactly right. I think a really sort of common one would be people who waited who said, oh no, I want to see, cash rate or interest rates drop before I go into it. And then now that it's happened and markets are starting to heat up and get competitive, firstly, they're probably saying, there are people, honestly, I've had these conversations already. Oh, yeah. No, definitely keen. It's great to have seen that. I just got to get like my documents sorted. I just got to, I'm just a bit busy at work right now. But, in the next probably month, like I'll be in a position to do it. And then over this next period, I can tell you markets are going to heat up. And I reckon some of those same people are going to come back and they're going to be saying, oh, it's just a bit hot. It's a bit hot. Like maybe we should just.
You're gonna be
overpaying
at the moment.
Maybe we should just wait till the middle of the year. People go off to Europe. It'll be a bit quieter. It'll be winter. Yeah, Matt. Like, what do you think? Should we just wait? Yeah. So these are the people that they're trying to time the mafia. The mafia. I can't talk. These are the same people that are trying to time the market perfectly. When it's impossible, you cannot time the market, right? It's that, like, to me, and I've said it a million one times, I've been blue in the face about this in business, in podcasts and everything. The perfect time is as soon as you are ready. And ready is not necessarily for these arbitrary things. Ready is you have the money, you have the financial capacity, it's within your risk tolerance. You need to go. You need to do it. That's the perfect time.
It's not timing the market, but time in the market.
Time in the market, because time is
money
and precious. But it is like time really is the most important asset, right? Time is the most important thing to your journey, because nobody gets rich overnight in property. It just does not happen. And ultimately, time is important. And the rate cuts, the cash rate cut, and then obviously the corresponding impact to interest rates, it is driving more competition. I can see it already. I could see it happening at the end of last year before it happened, because people knew just how close we were. And now that it's happened, people who were sitting on the fence that have jumped in.
I should have.
Some of those people are in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there are still going to be a big glut of people who find the excuses or whatever. But you don't want to be in that boat. Like, you don't want to be in that boat that people were in 2022 and 2023 going, I wish I jumped in 2020 and 2021. Yeah, it was hot. Yeah, this was happening, whatever. I should have jumped in. We're now about to go through, I think, something very similar to that. Probably not to the same degree, but very, very similar, because we are now on our downward path, right? We should hopefully be on our downward path. It's probably not going to be as rapid or as far down as it has been in the past, but we are on our way down. So, like, we got to jump in.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Okay, so that was myth number 1. Now, myth number 2, something I see very frequently as well. The belief that you need to buy in your own city, or probably more commonly described as, you got to buy in your own backyard. I see this all the time, right? And often it comes from the perception that it's too risky for it to be somewhere that you feel like you don't know. And like I say in inverters, don't know. The reality is, what it's like to maybe live in that area, but you don't know what the property metrics are. You don't know what some of the supply and demand things are.
It's near my parents, it's near my friends.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's your perception that you know the market, and also probably that you can drive past it. I had this conversation with somebody the other day, actually, and I wish sometimes I could record them, and then when somebody asks me the same thing, I could just play back the recording to them. They said something like, "Oh, I really just want to buy in the area that I am." I said, "Okay, why?" "Oh, well, like I can drive past, I can make sure that the tenants are doing the right thing. The property,
I can touch and feel.
Yeah, it's in good condition, whatever, all that stuff." I said, "Okay, so are you going to use? You plan to use a property manager? You're not going to manage it yourself, are you?" "Oh yeah, of course I'll use a property manager. I don't have time for that. I'm not going to do it." "Okay, so why are you paying them if you've got to go and check that it's okay? I mean, you can't go in their house. You're only going to see the lawns anyway. But why are you going to do that?" And this person, I'm like, well, I just like, I'm pretty handy, like if something breaks, I can then go past. I can fix it as well. So okay.
Yeah.
So I thought you were a lawyer. "No, I am, but I'm handy. I can fix the taps. I can do a bit of the gardening or whatever. I can go in. I don't mind rolling up my sleeves. And this person They genuinely thought they were really helping, right? They genuinely thought, I'm here. I said, okay, but you're a lawyer. How much do you charge per hour?
Yeah.
Oh, can't remember. I actually can't remember. I think it was maybe like 550, 600 an hour. Said, okay.
Well.
So would it possibly be a better solution to go and pay the gardener or go and pay the electrician or whatever, where maybe they're at $200 an hour, but
not just the rate, but they'll get the job done in like half the time,
and also qualified to do it.
Yeah.
Would that maybe not be a better solution? Yeah. I mean, I guess it could be. Okay, so if you got a property manager managing the property and you're paying them and you know they're doing a good job, you're going to use a professional trade to fix something if it breaks because they're qualified and they're probably better at it than you, and their time, at least off an hourly rate, is probably not worth it as much as yours is. Why do you need to be able to drive past it? And there was just silence at the end of the phone. Anyway, they ended up coming around. They said, okay, we'll just take it slow. We'll look at a few markets. If you show us some markets you think are good, I said, okay.
Because they came around.
I said, okay. You know what? I'll take that as a win for the day. We'll take this slow and steady. But you don't need to buy in your backyard.
But that happens more often than you think, right?
Man, more often it happens. I reckon my team and I would have a conversation probably at least once or twice a week with people that have sort of at least some of that as a bit of a misconception. But I think ultimately it is about what are you trying to do? Are you trying to invest, or are you trying to make a destination for you to drive past? Because if you're trying to invest, you should be doing it in the market that makes the most sense, right? It's the opportunity cost.
The return on investment. If it's an investment property.
Exactly right. It's not about where you want to live. It's not about what you think other people think is a good property. It's about where is the best place to invest.
Leave the emotions on the side.
Bang. Absolutely. Leave the emotions, right? So the key is to really focus on that data. Be a data-driven investor, not just something that might feel comfortable because you know the Chinese restaurant at the local shops near that house you're thinking about buying is a good one, so people might want to live there because they've got good Chinese takeaway or something. It's about being focused on where are you going to get the best return on investment, what is going to have the best long-term prospects, because at the end of the day, that is retirement funding, that is money in the bank for you. That's what it's about.
Absolutely.
All right. Here's one you and I speak on quite frequently. High yield equals a good investment.
Yeah.
You look tired just hearing that question. It's just...
it comes up so many times. It's just not funny.
Doesn't it? Especially the last 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, but people need to understand that there's nothing wrong with it. But it depends on where you're, in your strategy.
Yeah.
There's the right time for you to buy a high yield property.
And I mean, I think we'd both probably agree as well that for most people at most stages of the journey, the type of high yield we're talking about here is like your mining town, 12% rental yield, something like that. You're rarely going to find a time where it makes a lot of good sense to do something like that, right? Maybe something like commercial property, very different ball game, not something we'll talk about today, different kind of thing. But if we're talking about sort of standard residential investing, I mean, we've both seen it, right? Like the last 2 years with rates where they've been, a lot of people have sort of switched and they've been like, oh no, like I need really high yield to make sure I'm not out of pocket and things like that. And then you go and talk to them about that and understanding that it's a high yield because it's offsetting a different risk, which is that the property is not likely to grow. And I've always been a big fan of the saying, cash flow keeps you in the game, but capital growth gets you out. You need both.
I like that.
You need both. You like it? You need both. But if you go, like, here's an example, right? Like if you got a property that earns $500 a week, right? That means it's $26,000 a year, right? So by the same logic, I'm doing the quick maths here in my head. If you got a property that rents at say $750, right? Well, half of 26 is 13, so that would mean it rents at $39,000, right, a year. If you went and bought a property for say $550,000 and you were getting 5%, sorry, not 5%, you were getting $500 a week, right? I don't know exactly what the yield is. I didn't bring my phone into the recording, but I would hazard a guess that it's going to be probably around 4.8, 4.9% yield, but whatever, you guys can do the maths on that one. Or you buy that, and you know, that's possibly going to be in a market that's a bit more balanced. You know, you'd expect to get some growth, and you're obviously still getting pretty solid cash flow out of that as well, right? Or income. If you took that same $550K property, but you're now getting $750 a week rent on it, I have no idea what the yield equates to on that, but maybe it's probably starting to push like high sixes, low sevens, just trying to do a bit of mental maths in my head. You are probably trading some growth for that. So after expenses, let's say on the $500 a week at $550 purchase with where rates are right now, let's say you may be out of pocket a year, 10 grand. Just be conservative. We'll say you're out of pocket 10 grand. And let's then say that when you account for tax and everything else, that at that 750, you're actually now just back to neutral, right? You're at neutral. So you're making 10 grand on top, you're at neutral. It depends what you want, right? But if that property only grows by say 2%, the one that you've rented at 750 and you bought it at 550, right? That means that property's going up by, I think if my maths is right, it's about 11 grand. Or if you buy a really well located investment property that's a bit more balanced in nature, and you do it really well, you know, I think about our track record and our results, you know, averaging pretty close to 20%, right?
I was going to say a few years at least.
We'll moderate it down though. Like let's say you do 15%, you have a really strong first year because you're really trying to recycle equity quickly. That same 550 property is going to go at what? 55 plus 20, 27 and a half. So you're talking about, you know, what's that? Better part of 80 grand, right? 55, about 85 grand roughly. Would you rather make the extra 10 grand on your rent plus go up 11 grand? So let's say you're up 21 overall. Or would you rather go up what did I say, roughly 85 grand? Just trying to think quickly while we're talking.
Which one?
You know, roughly around that 85 grand, you're losing 10 in cash flow, but you're still 75, right? Like your net result is still substantially better. And if you're out of pocket 10K with where rates have been, that's then not even really taking into account the tax on it. So maybe it really only ends up being like 7.5 or 8. Way better investment, in my opinion. Way better, way more scalable. Because otherwise, when you try to go for your second one, you're going to have to save the deposit for the next one because you're not making much equity.
Yeah.
You're not making much cash flow either. You're just at neutral. You're going to have to go and save that next deposit. But, you know, 2 years of that other property, the one that rents at 500 and you bought at 550, 2 years of growth, you're probably in a position that you can.
Yeah, let alone how much deposit you needed for the 750 property and the one for 550. So there's lots to consider.
You know, lots of issues that come with it, right? So high yield does not always equal a good investment, right? Especially in the early days, you really want to probably try and take that more balanced approach. You know,
I like that.
You like that one?
Yeah.
All right, number 3, something that you probably have a lot of people talk to you about.
Yes.
There is a perception.
You bet.
There is a perception, especially I'd say there's 2 groups of people that really come from this sort of point of view, right? The older generation, right? That sort of the people that are that sort of probably, what are we? Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen X. Probably very, very like the first stage of Gen X / baby boomer, right? And then I guess, you know, if you're talking baby boomer, we're then talking about sort of like parents, or for some people might be grandparents of you know, somebody that might be listening right now, but they pass this perspective on, right? And it's also something I often see, you know, in a lot of groupings of communities, right? For example, like European community, I see this coming quite a lot out of there, and I think it can sort of go into a bit of the conservative nature that some sort of, you know, some backgrounds, you know, might come from, especially if they've come to Australia with not much and they're really trying to put themselves ahead. You know, you want to be a bit conservative. But I see that, you know, especially a generational issue and sometimes some migrant groups, that it's the classic old, you buy your house, you live in it, You got to pay it down over 30 years, and you can't look at anything else until you've done that. That's got to be your first and highest priority.
Yeah.
So if you go and buy your first home at 30, which would be pretty good these days for a lot of people, especially if it's the family home, and you got to pay down that mortgage. I mean, God, even if you say
30.
do it in 20 years instead of 30, you're very diligent about it. You're still talking about being 50 before you'd start investing in property. That doesn't leave a lot of time if you want to retire
early.
Even early, let alone at 65.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot of time. So, I mean, how many people do you see that come through your wide open platinum franchise doors that they actually have a lot of equity in their home because maybe they've owned it for 10 years, maybe they bought it at a really good time over the last sort of 5 to 10 years or something. Maybe they've just been very diligent about paying down and maybe haven't had great advice around them so far. How many people come through your doors that have significant equity in their home and you're looking at it going, guys, you could be buying definitely one, but maybe even 2 or 3 properties. Like, you have such a nest egg here that you could be using in a far more efficient manner.
Yeah, especially in the West.
Yeah.
The Merrickville and the likes.
Yeah.
Lots of people sitting in big equity.
Yeah.
But some of these people don't have too much income,
which makes it hard.
Yeah, it makes it hard. But we see a lot of people with that mentality we just mentioned. Like, people they don't think outside the box. Like, what can we do? In fact, I've got one at the moment. They've got like 500,000 or something like that.
Wow.
Receiving, I think, from inheritance or something like that. And they're looking for the next steps. What should we do?
Yeah.
The plan is to, pay off the mortgage, the owner-occupier mortgage. But obviously, we're not saying what you should be doing here.
Yeah.
This is by no means financial advice. You should check your own accord. But if you do think there's options out there to invest, there's better options to use equity and buy investment property. Because let's say 10, 20 years, you doubled, sell, pay off, and you're better off. You got money left over for your retirement. So we do see that a lot, especially in the West.
Yeah.
A lot of people sitting in equity.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I think, and the inner West definitely has some of those migrant communities that you can probably think of. I mean, it can be really hard.
Petersham as well. Yeah, lots of Portuguese.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Brazilian as well.
I'm thinking of the Leichhardts.
Leichhardts, lots of Italians.
The Italians, yeah. It's
I think they focus on properties. They're very
the
very
Italians
driven.
love it. Absolutely
They're
love
very
it.
driven,
Love it. But I think
I think I know one person. She's Italian.
Yeah.
The family's Italian, and I think they own more than 45 properties in Leichhardt. Just in Leichhardt.
They would be worth a small fortune.
Let's not go down that path. I think 40 properties, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just in Leichhardt.
Yeah. Well, but I think it really goes to what we're talking about on this myth, right? Which is that you don't need to pay off your own home before you start investing, and if you're really smart, you can actually use investments to help you pay down that if you're really smart and savvy about it. And a lot of the time, some of that perception can come either because you yourself are maybe from a generation or from a background where that has sort of been, it's what all you've seen or known, or maybe, you have a family history that has been drummed into you as well. It doesn't really matter sort of where it comes from, but that perception exists.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it happens a lot. And I see people come and talk to us, and they might be in their early 20s, and they might have that perception as well. And they're really going, I don't know what to do. Do I buy my own house and just get that sort? It happens everywhere. And I think the biggest thing that we can say to bust this myth is you don't need to do it. And the smartest and best investors and the people that are really setting themselves up for that success, really, they are the ones who are trying to diversify their portfolio. They are possibly using their home to help them leverage into investments and all the sort, and you definitely don't need to spend the next 20 or 30 years paying off before you start that journey.
Absolutely.
So, as the shout out, if you think you got equity, go and have a chat with Will, and he can help you understand if you do have that equity.
Please do.
And then the Atlas team and I can help you utilize that equity when you get to that point, So
that's it. Good team altogether.
Good teamwork, hey? So we have done, where are we up to? We've done 1, 2, 3, 4. We are on to our 5th and final myth. So, probably links a little bit into the last one that we had, but I think still quite different. And I think the media can be very, very devilish for the way that they go about doing this. But there is certainly a perception or a myth out there that you need to be wealthy to invest in property. And I can categorically say that that is untrue. You know, like I said, I think the media can be really, you know, the media loves to just sell stories that get eyeballs. You know, one minute they're telling a story about someone who's 30 and they have 20 properties, and then the next minute that same group, they're telling a story about a 45-year-old that's never been able to own their home and they never will, and that it's, you know, just a very depressing situation, right? At the end of the day, both get massive eyeballs. You know, both get massive eyeballs, and that is all that they're really focusing on. But you do not need to be wealthy. You know, when I bought my first property at 22, I think it was, I would have been only earning $60,000 or $70,000 a year. You know, and
good on you for starting.
Thank you,
good
mate.
on you.
Thank you. But I think it's I guess my point though is that you don't have to have a high income, and I would say most people when they start actually don't have a high income. You know, most people when they really start, they might be, you know, a single person that's earning, you know, like I was $60,000, $70,000. I mean, now it's obviously.
How long ago was that? 20 years ago?
20 years ago. You bang on about how bloody young I am, and now you're adding age on top of me. No, I mean, what that was better part of 10 years ago, I think.
No, I'm
better
joking.
part of that.
I was just joking. It was just teasing.
You really you got under my skin there. No, but you know, like now, like maybe if we inflate that out to now, you know, maybe especially with everything that's happened in the world since then, like, you know, maybe that's the equivalent of sort of 90K now if you're a single person, 90 to 100K if you're a single person. It's obviously harder if you don't have two incomes. But if you're a couple and you've got two people and they earn 80 or 90,000 and you've got, you know, the household income that's now starting to push close to 200,000, that's a really good scenario to be in. Like, I mean, off the cuff, like I would expect somebody that's earning, or a household that's got, let's just say 200,000, you're talking about the better part of like, you know, $850 to $1 million of borrowing, I would expect, right?
With no debt.
With no debt, yeah. Like assuming that they haven't done anything.
Yeah.
You know, like you could be buying 2 properties at that sort of level, right?
Get started. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So, you know, let's firmly bust that myth. You know, like you can't buy your 10th property until you bought your first. And, you know, maybe at 10 properties, you consider yourself wealthy. But when you're buying your first one, most people aren't wealthy. You know, they are everyday people who are just trying their best at getting by. And I would say, if I was going to summarize, I would say the biggest barrier to property investing is not income, it's financial literacy and action taking.
Couldn't agree more.
That's the biggest they're the biggest barriers. You know, it's
if there's a good takeaway from this, action taking.
Action taking, absolutely. You know, an 80% action done on time is better than a perfect action done late. And you know, you like that one? Like that one?
Is that Warren Buffett or was it
Lachlan Vidler? No, I don't know. I mean, that saying's gotten around for ages. I think the first time I heard about it was in the military. It was, you know, always drummed into us. You're never going to get a perfect answer, and the most important thing is if you can take action quickly, that the majority of it is correct and been thought out, but majority is correct. Doing that on time is a lot better than waiting for a perfect answer that's too late. You know, like, you know, if you think in a military context, that could have life implications for certain people. So yeah, it was always drummed into us. Imperfect action done on time is better than perfect action done late.
Beautiful.
So for our final myth to be busted, you do not need to be wealthy in property. It is not the case whatsoever. The most important thing, if you think that you are even closely in the vicinity of being in a position to do it, go and talk with a broker, because they will absolutely be able to tell you categorically where you're at right now and probably give you some tips and tricks to get you to that next level, right? It might be you just need to save a little bit more money. It might be, if
closing
you can
credit cards, something simple.
Yeah, close your afterpay.
Yeah,
you know, could you, I see you've got $100,000 in savings, and I see you've got a car loan for $10,000. You know, go take $10,000 and close that car loan. You know, like a million and one options, but go and have a chat with a mortgage broker, because if you don't have much experience in this world, it's very deep, wasn't it?
Yeah,
You don't have much experience in this world. If you don't have much experience in this part of the world, property investment and everything, you may have misset expectations about what's required, and you might actually be sitting in a position that you can take that action. And it's the financial literacy piece that is actually the hole in this bucket, not your income, not anything else. So
beautiful.
Can we consider that myth busted? I love that show, Mythbusters. My God. Best show ever. Yeah. Best show ever. I remember as a kid sitting there, SBS, watching Mythbusters, watching them just do things you'd never think of, and then suddenly it's, myth busted, Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, that is our top investment myths that might be holding you back. So just to recap, we've got that there is no such thing as a perfect time to buy. You do not need to buy in your own city. High yield does not always equal a good investment, and often does not equal a good investment. That you do not need to pay off your own home before investing, and you do not need to be wealthy to invest into property. All right? So, any final words from you, my friend?
Until the next time.
Until the next time.
Yeah.
Put you on the spot there. It's a good set of words.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, thank you again for listening in. We very much appreciate it. We watch the numbers. We see the podcast growing ever closer. This will probably be, we'll have to check the schedule, but this will probably be our last episode before we officially hit our 12-month anniversary of doing it. But if not, maybe there's one more. So we are very rapidly approaching it, and Will and I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who has tuned in. We have had tens of thousands of listeners over the course of the last year, building it up from scratch from that very first listener. It has been an absolute pleasure being able to do this with you guys, and we are so excited to keep doing it. And for us to keep doing it and keep letting us know that you enjoy and are liking what we're doing, please give us 5 stars on whatever streaming platform that you are listening on. Please feel free to write in. I've said it so many times. We've got to set up some sort of like mini website, landing page or something for people to give us feedback. But failing that, email Will, email me, whatever it might be. Get in contact. Let us know if there's anything you'd like us to talk about, because we're really keen to make sure that you guys are hearing the things that you want. And we've had some phenomenal suggestions. But please give us the 5 stars. And then otherwise, if you're looking for that financial assistance and that mortgage broking help, please go and chat with Will and his team at Aussie Newtown. I say it every time. He's a platinum guy. He's a platinum broker, and they're a platinum franchise. They can help you out with that side. And we've talked about a lot of things today that probably might jog some people to think about that. So go and have a chat with them. And if you are looking at investing in property and you're looking to start or grow your portfolio, come and have a chat with myself and the team at Atlas Property Group. The market is absolutely starting to run very hot, and we want to help as many people grow, make sure they don't miss out in the same way that some people did in the early 2020s with it. And Will, I haven't told you about this one, but I'm going to throw a little something out for all of our listeners.
Ooh.
We've actually started a new service. We've started a new service offering because we've had a lot of people coming to us that might own a few properties, and they're not necessarily sure where their portfolio sits, if it's good, if it's not. And we decided to do something about that. So we've actually started a portfolio review service. Okay.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So look, there is a fee for service because it is quite a considerable amount of work that we put into it, right?
Oh, I can imagine.
Like if you're coming to us to say a 3 or 4 property portfolio, you're probably going to get over the better part of 30 pages worth of analysis across your portfolio and on the properties, right? So if you have a portfolio and you are wondering where it sits, if there's any improvements you can make to it, or you just want to get a bit of a health check, atlaspropertygroup.com.au/portfolio review. All right?
That's awesome.
Come and drop an inquiry in. We'll be in touch. We can talk to you about what the service is, what's covered, and the cost involved. It's definitely not expensive, For most people, it might only be in the hundreds of dollars, so not very expensive. Come and have a chat. We'll do a review of your portfolio, and maybe we can find ways to help you get into your next property. So that is my little shout out for everyone.
Beautiful.
But otherwise,
well done.
Thank you, mate. Otherwise, overall, atlaspropertygroup.com.au, you can book a call or you can book a portfolio review, as I've just dropped there for you guys. So until next time, and maybe we won't know until we go and look at the schedule after this. Maybe this is happy 12 months to us, but otherwise, we'll make sure we talk about it on our very next episode. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back with you soon.
Thank you.
This is a Piccolo podcast production.